Hello everybody, my name is Quantum Knoxboy. I like to believe I'm a one-trick Genos, but I actually have another character to share with you guys today. Her name is Io. I've been playing around with her, been having the time of my life. And most people be falling asleep on Io, saying she's not meta and all, but that's because nobody really knows how to fully utilize her to her max potential. Damage IO is obviously a joke, but it is possible. Um, healing, healing IO is kind of like a thing whether you go damage or not. And she actually has a pretty decent amount of kill power. And to start things off, I'm gonna discuss which talent to use. Um, I kind of just have like one build for everything, like a one build fits all mentality. So I'm going to briefly explain why I choose Lifelink over Goddess's Blessing and Sacrifice. Alright, here's the truth about Goddess's Blessing. Allies being healed by Moonlight take 15% reduced damage. That's not very essential. Considering a headshot, if a Strix or Kinessa gets a headshot, they can still two-shot you even with this going on. Especially if they have max cauterized, they have a higher likelihood of just completely steamrolling this talent. It only works for tanks, but as you can imagine in this meta, there is not a single tank that would dare hold the point for more than 3 seconds. And the reason Sacrifice won't work is because that's completely dependent on Luna surviving. And the thing about Luna surviving is you just have to be prepared for Luna to die. If you're going to use her, if you're going to use Io, you have to use Luna objectively. She has to be objective every single time, and you have to be prepared for her to die. Otherwise, you're basically throwing the game with this, because to use this, you have to keep Luna in a safe place, which means you're basically cutting your DPS in half, and Luna's the one with the stun capabilities, and they're probably going to focus Luna first anyways, just because you can't dodge her and she has auto hit, and she can also be affected by Bulldozer much easier, so you just have to be prepared for Luna to die, and with this talent you can't do that. So now, on to why I use Lifelink. As you all know, Genos has been getting a shit ton of nerfs recently, mostly regarding its Astromark. It used to heal for 200 per second, and now it heals for 180. That's funny because now Lifelink officially heals more than Genos' main tool. That's funny to me. But this is going to be more useful because this is literally Genos' relativity card, which heals himself, and at level 5 relativity, Genos can heal 200 per second whenever he heals other people. And Lifelink is basically a 2-in-1 because it heals multiple allies around you and yourself. The only person it doesn't heal is Luna, but that's natural because Luna's the one giving out the heals. So Lifelink basically does 2 of Genos' jobs better. The only thing it doesn't do is apply an attack boost, but it literally has its own attack that can't miss. It's kind of like Barrack's turret, but it's got a combo attack that does a total of, it does like 600 every 2 seconds, which is pretty good considering Io's bow and arrow does 400. So you're definitely going to want Lifelink. This is especially going to be very helpful in duels. Now build-wise, this is what I run for Lifelink. I edited it a little bit so I got max level Moonwalk, because as you guys may know, Io got a super sweet buff that increased her Moonlight's healing capability by basically 20%, so you can heal people basically 20% faster, and she heals around 1,000 HP per second, and she can keep doing that. I counted, it's like for a total of 5 seconds. And with this, and with level 5 Moonwalk, it's like 6 or 7 seconds at that point. So it's like 1 or 2 seconds more, which means that's definitely like at least 1,000 more HP you can heal off without having to reload your Moonlight. And I have level 5 Lunar Connection, which reduces the cooldown of Luna's initial deploy by 6 seconds. Why this is important is because, well, you have to place Luna on the objective, and you have to be prepared for Luna to die. Now, initially, that's like 16, 17 seconds you have to wait. And you already know, frontlines are not about to hold that point for longer than 16 or 17 seconds. So reducing the cooldown by a whole 6, like, almost pairs it up. Like, if you run Max Chronos, you can basically pair that up with one of Genos' Astromarks, and the cooldown would be reduced to around 7 or 8 seconds. So every 7 or 8 seconds, you can safely contest that objective, at least long enough for the tanks to grow some balls, or you can just heal the Luna altogether and just continue to contest the objective at a safe distance. Now I have level 3 Crescent because obviously with this much objective power, people are going to want to focus you. And surprise surprise, when they nerfed Cauterize, they didn't take into account everyone would just switch to burst DPS. That being said, it's very easy to get 2 and 3 shotted in this game. So I have Crescent at level 3 just in case I need to like distance myself entirely. Now the beauty about this card is no matter how far I go, Luna will still be on the objective until she dies. There's not really much else to say about that. You know, you fly away safely while Luna still contests the objective, but that's also going to make flanks and stuff chase you down, and that's, I mean, you're definitely bound to die if a flank is that determined to kill you off, because Luna's still alive, and that flank has to kill you to kill Luna. So whether you die or not, that flank has to like forget about everything and just focus you. They have to tunnel vision you, which as soon as they kill you, that's like 10 seconds they're out of battle. They got to get back into what they were doing. So that's definitely why you should run Crescent at 45% health, because flanks have a lot of burst DPS, and they'll get you at half HP faster than you think. Sanctum of Faith level 1, regenerated Moonlight every 1 second while not using Moonlight. Yeah, I'm sure you can imagine why I at least have 1% of that. And Luna's deploy range by 20. I don't know, that's just a default everyone goes for. Nothing much to say there. So now we're in. This is her skill descriptions. Light bow, celestial build and funds, godly energy, dealing 400 damage every 0.6 seconds. The significance of this is no matter what range, like literally no matter what range,
run, ya dogs!
It will always be 400. It will always be 400. That's why it's going to take a flank to take care of you, because no matter what, you always deal 400. That's great. But I'm sure you all have been waiting for this moment. Luna, this is your bread and butter, your significant other, the bee's knees. Luna has very special properties. Her HP pool is actually higher than Fernando's. She, like, without Bulldozer, she has more HP than Fernando without even having to apply the cards. And there's a card that you can use to increase her HP all the way to 1,000, and then she'll still have more HP. She'll still have more HP than Fernando, even with his max HP card. So Luna is definitely your go-to. Like, she's good for everything. She can hold the objective. She has auto-aim. She actually does not miss at all. However, I do not really know the range. Yeah, that makes sense. So she's not effective at 100 meters, but maybe if we put her here. Yeah, she's like effective in 50 meters. Yeah, they don't really say much about Luna, but she has a lot of special capabilities. I'm not sure if she'll be able to like sponge attacks like everyone thinks. Hold on, let's see. If I put Luna in front of me, it's most likely she will take damage. Well, yeah, she'll take that, I suppose. Very easy for her to die if you don't take care of her. It's like raising a real dog, really. You have to make sure she's well fed. You have to make sure she's doing everything she can. You have to make sure she's protected. There's nothing wrong with her.
Looking a little grim.
I'm not sure if she can be affected by Cauterize, but she does not apply Cauterize. Now, what most people... Now, Luna has a stun, but most people don't really know how to benefit from it. Like, they just let the stun disappear and whatnot. Now, naturally, you're not really going to care about a stun when you're putting Luna on the objective. But let's say you lose a lot of HP and you gotta retreat, and you put Luna like right here. That will save your stun, and when people come around this corner, okay, Luna does not shoot through walls. That's great. That means she won't be able to stun through them. And how you apply a stun is you literally just shoot somebody. And I know it doesn't look like it, which is interesting, but Luna's definitely the type that will just, as soon as you shoot somebody, they would be bound to... I don't really know how she triggers it. It's like every, it's definitely within 3 seconds. It's within 3 seconds, but when you shoot someone, yeah, it really depends. It's usually like 1 second or 3. Sometimes it can take a long time, but how that stun works is it stuns you for a long enough time to basically land 2 hits. Unstoppable. That's a free 1,000 damage because that hit itself, the hit itself deals 300, and then you can land 2 shots on them while they're stunned. Luna is very useful, especially in duels, because that's why lifelink is so important. You can use her as a sponge. She basically gives you more healing than Genos. And you can do that. You can just hit them once, and you basically get free damage. And you're already getting free damage the longer you live, because you forgot, Luna's also attacking, and she doesn't miss while all this is happening. So she has a lot of kill power, a lot more sustainability than people give her credit for. And you can even control her stun. And how you want to do that is, you never want to forget, she doesn't hit through walls. And that's beneficial because that means she can't waste her stun. So let's say you have very low HP, you're trying to recover and all that, you put Luna in front of you, and a flank thinks they want to finish the job. Because you did not, because Luna is not attacking anyone. Oh yeah, she can also heal herself when she's out of combat. So she's like a real person. She just doesn't give you credits for contesting the objective. But let's say a flank is coming around and all that. They think they're about to finish the job.
An enemy is immortal.
You just go ahead and shoot them. Yeah, she's not going to shoot through walls. But, you do that. Oh yeah, the mark does have a limit. But let's say a flank's doing all that. You just finish them off.
13 in a row.
You can punish them for trying to flank you.
Double kill.
It's that easy. Now, Moonlight, as you can imagine,
Enemy
there's not really
is
much to
godlike.
say about. There's not much to say about Moonlight, really. You heal the person.
Stronger, healer. Annihilation.
It's nothing to it. And you already know how the heal works. It's basically Geno's Aftermark, but like 10% better. And usually what I like to run with all this is, first things first, I max out Chronos. Because when, well, as you can imagine, you gotta be prepared for Luna to die, like, all the time. So lowering the cooldown as much as possible, you can contest the point every 8 seconds safely, and all that. Next, what I like to max out is Nimble.
Treasure!
I don't know why, I just run out of stuff to do after that. Plus, you can, like, get a funny hop going. It also helps you get behind Luna faster, you know, do all that sponginess stuff. And I believe next, what I like to get next, is Master Riding, because as you can imagine, well, I'm sure you can imagine, you'll be ready to die. And because you're an essential, I mean, you're 2 in 1. You'll be prepared to die a lot, and you'll be prepared to get to the seed as fast as possible. And the last part, you kind of do whatever you want. Like, if the team needs more cauterize, just remember, Luna does not apply cauterize. This is only for your weapon shots. The same goes for life rip. And the reason you could consider going morale boost is because there's actually a moment where your ult makes you invincible. And as you can imagine, invincibility goes a long way, especially when you're dealing with a Sky ult, a Lex ult, definitely a Terminus ult. Like, as soon as he springs back to life, you can just ult him off the map. It's very useful. That invincibility is very useful. However, you have to be careful, because very careful, because the ult has a very sensitive hitbox. Like, I'm aiming straight forward, but that's interesting. Usually when you, like, nick the wall or something, it just goes apeshit. Like, if you nick the wall at all, it's just like, nah, I'm good. You just have to be careful of where you put, cause, like, especially right here, I don't know, I just always have bad luck with it. Yeah, like, you have to be, like, out in the open if you want this thing to hit something. And no, it cannot nick anything. If it so much as grazes anything, it's invalidated. 800 damage, nobody dies. That's why it's very important. Like, if you really want this to hit something, you have to be out in the open. Like, Frog Isle would be the best for this, because, you know, there aren't too many walls, there's a lot of open space. It's very unlikely that the ears will nick a wall or something, because the further out it goes, the more likely it is to be invalidated. But I don't know, the hitbox is super wonky, because it can snatch up people, but if it hits a wall, you know, it's game over. They all just get 800 damage, they zip right back in front of you, and just fuck you up. So, it's great for invincibility, but try not to rely on it too much. Only use it if you're in, like, a choking situation. And Well, yeah, that would be why I would use that. Now, priorities. Priorities as an IO player. Obviously the objective. You're like an objective healer. And you're definitely going to want to be around people a lot. You're like sincerely going to want to be around people a lot. You're going to love that. Like, you definitely need to be around people because that's how your Moonlight heals. Take into account that your projectiles are actually projectiles. And I find it interesting because projectiles have no fall-off damage at all, but bullets do. And they deal less damage than projectiles. Bear that in mind. It does count as direct damage, so Haven would counter this. And Luna is affected by Bulldozer, so remember that. The counters for Luna would definitely have to be Dredge, Bomb King. I believe Sky would melt this thing, but mostly people capable of dealing a lot of burst DPS and giving you debuffs and whatnot would melt Luna, so you have to be careful of that. Flanks kind of have a tough time with taking care of Luna because, as you already know, she's like another person, but she doesn't necessarily share the same properties as other people. So, like, I'm not sure if Moji can actually use her mark to put a quick 1000 on Luna. I haven't actually seen anyone succeed in doing that, and I'm not sure I ever will. But I think the most important part of combat is managing your stuns. Because like I said, managing your stuns is basically, yeah, you gotta really time it. And if you're ever unsure of when your next stun will be, if you actually check the bottom left corner, there's like a glowing purple thing. Glowing purple or blue, depending on what color your screen is. But that's the thing in the corner. When it lights up and its thing is full, you shoot them, boom. 4, 5. So it looks like it takes around 10 or 12 seconds to, it looks like every 15 or 16 seconds you get a stun.
Double kill.
Yeah, every 15 seconds you get a stun. So after you take care of the flank that was trying to flank you, you can put Luna back on point for 15 seconds, when you're low on health, you leap back, put Luna on you, get a quick heal in, heal Luna maybe. Then when a flank tries to get you, you just try to stall for as long as you can, and as soon as you get that hit in, I should probably test what the range is. She goes pretty far out to get the stun. And she also has like a little combo. I'm sure you see the combo right there. But yeah, the stun is definitely your bread and butter. So you always, timing your attacks is very essential. You always want to time your attacks because that's how you know it's time to stun. Yeah, this is a very powerful duo, and you always want to be around Luna. You always want to dance around her. I mean, in certain situations, it's definitely okay to contest the point. Like, take Io and contest the point while Luna is active and dance around her. Especially if there are no people around that require blast shield like Drogas and all that. As long as everyone on that team is direct and whatnot, and you don't have a Vivian or anyone else that can melt you without even fucking trying, then it is definitely viable to sit on the point, bounce around with your other flank. Because the only reason you'd want to be on that point is if you're there with another flank. Well, not another flank, but another tank. And you can just help that tank. You can give him some moonlight while Luna heals you. So it's just a constant healing web of heals. Luna's healing you and the tank, and you're healing the tank. You're healing Luna. You just make an instant web, a network of heals while contesting the point. Because remember, even though Luna is contesting the point and she counts as contesting the points, you will never earn any credits if Luna is the only one contesting the point. So if you just let Luna hold the point the entire time, just know your stats are probably going to look like shit. Your stats are definitely bound to look like shit. You just got to be prepared for that. And the only way to prove you did anything viable is through using as much moonlight as possible for your teammates, or just, you know, just beating shit out of people like that.
Double kill.
Maybe get some damage going, I don't know. But just know. Yeah, that's a glitch, I don't know. I don't know how that happens, how that works, but occasionally you'll mark multiple people at once. I think she'll attack the person that was originally marked first. But yeah, I really think... Okay, everyone else saw that. That was interesting. But I really think Io could fit in the meta with enough experimentation and enough figuring out what works and what doesn't. Because her base kit is definitely anti-flank. She definitely has what it takes to be an anti-flank servant. Because, like, that stun is very potent. Even if Moji goes into shield mode and she deactivates the stun mark, you can still just shoot her again. You know, just get a Lunar Leap, get away from her after her shield depletes, put Luna back on you, just smack her up again. Luna will go after her ass, and get that quick stun, quick 1000 damage. Yeah, it's definitely anti-flank material. And as you can imagine, 400 damage off the bat is always good. Including this damage that Luna's doing that clearly does more than both of their turns together. Including that stun, that's extra free damage. Luna and Io put together definitely have what it takes to be a part of the meta, especially now that her heals are more viable by a whole 20%. So I would very much like to see more of Io. I'd love to see more Ios in matches, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section if you guys like tutorials like these. This is actually my first time using my voice to give out a tutorial. I don't even know how long it is, but for the most part, I don't know how long any of these are going to be. This is just something I decided I'm going to do because I really fucking love the character, and I feel like no one's paying her any attention. Because I actually took her to rank 1. I mean, obviously you guys know I've been a Genos 1 trick for like a year and some change. And although I don't have a video anymore because I had to initialize my PS4 because the update just fucked my shit entirely. There was someone I was playing with back when I was in platinum rank, and they had an IO. So everyone was just shitting on that IO relentlessly, but we had all damage. We had all damage and 2 healers. Oh. Hey, Mom. Oh man, I love college life. But platinum ranked, Isle's good. You should try her. She's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. And I love my mama.